Hi everyone, my name is Emily and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a counselor through the UWO Counseling Center, and today I'm going to take you through an activity called strength sourcing. What this is about is helping us overcome difficult times by identifying sources of strength and care in our lives, originating both from ourselves and sources and individuals outside of ourselves. It can also help us create awareness as to how we can build on these current resources to help us more effectively overcome distress and discomfort when we face suffering and challenges in the future. So to do this activity, all you need is a piece of paper and something to write with. And how I'll have you start is by taking your piece of paper like this and drawing a line down the middle vertically and then two lines horizontally across the piece of paper. In the upper left box up here, we're going to write myself. In the box below that, we're going to write others known, and below that, others unknown. Once you've had a moment to get this piece of paper ready, we are going to start with this very top left box that's labeled myself. And what we're going to do is write down every way we can possibly think of that we have shown up for ourselves, cared for ourselves, and made changes in the past to overcome difficult times. This can be something like self-care needs, keeping up with your sleep schedule, with your eating schedule, with your hygiene, with your academics. This can be a certain way you talk to yourself, giving yourself a pep talk or expressing self-compassion. This can be setting boundaries with other people, doing artwork, asking for help, giving yourself a chance to rest. The list really goes on, but what I'd like you to do is get creative and really think about what you have done in the past for yourself that has made a difference with overcoming a difficult time. And then what we're going to do in the next box over, so the upper box on the right, also on the myself line, is we're going to write the types of things that maybe we didn't do for ourselves in those difficult times, but might make a difference in the future were we to make that choice. So I will fill out an example and then share that. So here is my example for section number 1, myself. As we can see, this individual did an excellent job with keeping up with self-care patterns, in particular around eating and sleeping. So 3 meals a day and at least 7 hours of sleep each night. However, being active was not such a success, and that is something that is added to kind of the growth edge section of ways we could build on self-care. This person also used deep breathing when feeling overwhelmed or anxious, continued to sketch and journal as a creative outlet, and told themselves, I'm going to get through this. Other areas that have been identified as ways we could possibly build on how we're showing up for ourselves have been integrating more practices of self-compassion. The phrase, I'm going to get through this, is a wonderful start. However, self-compassion can go a lot further to challenge self-criticism. And then lastly, if we look at the different ways that this person has taken care of themselves, one thing that's lacking is reaching out to other people and involving them with support. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean sharing the deep, dark secrets of what you're feeling on the inside, but sometimes just letting somebody know that you're struggling and you could, use an extra shoulder to lean on. So that has also been identified as a growth edge to maybe challenge a natural tendency to isolate when we're feeling overwhelmed, and challenge ourselves to reach out and seek support from others. So the next section we're going to do is others known. So underneath others known, we're going to write the different ways that other people have shown up for us in the past when we've been going through a hard time. Hard time can be finals week. It can be having a disagreement or a fight with a roommate or a friend or a family member. It can really be any source of emotional distress. But think about, what have other people done for you in the past? People that you know. And then below that, we will do people who you've never met, and maybe different researchers or authors of books that have made contributions to how you're feeling and getting through this difficult time. But for now, let's focus on what other people have done for us in the past, certain phrases that they've shared, different words of advice, different actions that they might have taken to support us. And then in this box, we're going to write maybe some of those areas where we wish people had shown up for us, actions they'd taken, words that they had said that maybe they did not. All right, so for the second section, here are my examples. So for this person, ways that they have received support that have been really effective in the past from others have been through physical touch. So hugs, cuddles, hanging out with pets sometimes can make a big positive difference in our mood. Having movie nights with friends, so not necessarily talking about what's going on emotionally, but having some place to be distracted and maybe laugh and forget about some of the things that are distressing for a while. A friend who maybe specifically reached out and told you about their experience with anxiety. Give the example of someone named Alicia. And sometimes hearing from a friend about what they're going through can make a difference and make us feel less alone. And then lastly, I put an example here of maybe seeing a Facebook post or some sort of social media from another person who speaks to mental health and wellness. And maybe seeing that post gives you a little bit of encouragement to take care of yourself, to acknowledge what's going on with your mental health and to address it instead of kind of sweeping it under the rug and trying to white knuckle it. Several areas that I've identified this person might seek some more helpful care from others and support is maybe having meals together. Sometimes eating can be a lonely event, especially when a lot of times breaking bread is about more than just eating, but it's about really sharing social connection while we eat. And if you're somebody who maybe struggles to eat consistently when you're struggling emotionally, eating with friends can be a great support for that. I have specific check-ins on here. So maybe friends and family are very good at checking in on what's going on with schoolwork and your schedule, but don't specifically check in on your symptoms and say, how is your anxiety today? And opening up that conversation. And then lastly, I have on here focus on the positives. Sometimes it's easy as humans to bond over the negatives and to talk about the things that aren't going well in life. The papers that are coming up, the disagreements we've had, the ways we're dissatisfied with our own bodies. And while as natural as that is, it can be really helpful when we're in a lower mood state to really focus on the positives, the things that are going well, and things that we can be grateful for to boost our mood. And if we can get our social circle to focus on some more of the positives as well, that might make a difference. Now lastly, I'm going to fill out this bottom section of things that people who maybe you've never met have done or said that have encouraged you and helped you work through these times. It can be an author of a book, it can be a YouTube video, it can be anything that you've come across from somebody who you don't know personally has had a positive impact on your life. And then secondly, we're going to put in this category, maybe if there are any specific areas that we can build upon with other people's advice and research and experience overcoming struggles and overcoming difficult times. Perhaps you consider learning more about self-compassion. Perhaps there's a specific book that you have been avoiding reading that could help kind of illuminate what's going on with your struggle and give you some support. So I'm going to give an example of this now. Here is my example for the third category. So others unknown. And I have, under resources that have been utilized, Brene Brown, specifically the book Gifts of Imperfection. I also have some different examples of people who may offer advice or guidance, or maybe even different Netflix shows or YouTube videos that can help us understand our own experience a little bit more effectively. And then on the other side, I have Kristen Neff and self-compassion, because maybe that is a growth edge, something that you'd like to learn more about that could provide some more insight and tools to manage those difficult times. So once you've completed this whole sheet of paper, what I would like you to do is really look through the left-hand column of ways that you have received support in the past and really connect with the amount of support and resources that are out there. If it seems a little bit scarce, that's not a problem whatsoever. That's why we have the other side of the page to help us build on what we already have. And my encouragement to you is to pick one thing from each category here that you will try and purposely integrate. So for example, something from the top category of maybe being more physically active, or whatever that goal is that you could set for yourself, do for yourself, and possibly by yourself to support your own mental health and wellness. Something you could ask of a friend, a loved one, or any member of your support system. Let them know, when I'm down, this is how I'd like you to support me. This would make a big difference. And then lastly, maybe one area where you'd like to learn a little bit more about maybe what the experts have to say, or read a book or some sort of resource beyond the knowledge of the people you know and are in your circle, but to access that wisdom from people who have really come from many different walks of life and have great wisdom to share with us to help us cultivate our own well-being. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this activity, and take care.